So good morning. Today we will just revise the starting two-dimensional arrays, which we started in the previous class. We have discussed about two-dimensional arrays and one program regarding input and output of two-dimensional arrays, right? So this is the PPT which I had explained, and I had asked you to watch this video also. I hope you were able to watch. Then today we will discuss a gist of it, and then we will have a session wherein if you have doubts you can ask me, right? So for as a prerequisite, I'm just revising with the concept of array. So what is an array? So it is a homogeneous collection of data items. Homogeneous means that all the data items are of the same type, right? Same data type. If we declare like int and name of the array, that means all the elements in the array are of type integer, right? And they are going to be accessed with a same name and they will be stored continuously. So that is what we have seen in examples, right? So one dimensional array as well as two dimension. So here those are the two types. So single dimension is just a linear list. We have one index to identify the elements and we have a single name and the elements are stored continuously. So we have seen an example and also we have seen programs here like declaration of one dimensional array so that we can compare with 2D array. I just included the same again here. So declaration, as we know, we are going to give the data type like any general int, float, char, etc. And then a single array name to identify each element of the array. And then within brackets, that is square bracket, we specify the size of the array. So size is the maximum number of elements that can be stored in the array. So once we give this, it reserves that much amount of memory for the elements of the array, right? So here we have examples also wherein int ARR of 20 is just one integer array with maximum size of 20. So we can store a maximum of 20 integers in this array. Similarly, we have float array and double array. So all these are one dimensional arrays, right? So next, similarly, if we see two dimensional arrays, so here we have two indexes. So first index is the row size and then we have the column size. So this two dimensional array is nothing but the matrix. So similar to the matrix, we have two dimensions. One dimension is the row, another dimension is the column, right? So here also while declaring, we specify the data type and then name of the 2D array, right? So followed by the row size. Row size is the number, maximum number of rows that can be there in the 2D array. Next is the column size, which is the maximum number of columns, right? So we had discussed this also previously, just a representation wherein we have two subscripts or two indexes. ARR is the name of the array. So 0 is the first number, it indicates row number 0. Second number 0 is a column number. So ARR of 0, 0 is the first number of the two-dimensional array. So if we are declaring this, so this two-dimension array, as we can see, has 3 rows and 4 columns. How do we declare this, right? How do we declare this array? Yes. Tell me. Please mute your audio or lower the volume behind you and tell me how to declare this array. We have 3 rows and 4 columns and all are integers, right? How to declare this?
Array int
Yes.
array 3 4.
Int array 3 4, right? Int is the data type and then array is ARR, which is name of the array, and then 3 because there are 3 rows and 4 because there are 4 columns, right? So that we have the declaration of the array. So row subscript will be 0 1 2 and column numbers will be 0 1 2 3. So we just saw these examples, right? So now let us see. First part will be to read these elements. So we have seen how to represent each element. We have taken example also. Now we need to take input for these elements, right? Once we declare int ARR of 3, 4 with 3 rows and 4 columns, we have to take input also, right? Let us consider next. We have how to read this 2D array, right? So once we have seen the representation, reading is nothing but taking input values. We will ask the user to enter some numbers that will be part of the 2D array, right? So here we have two subscripts, row and columns. So for that we need two for loops, right? One for loop will be for the row number, another is for the column number. So we can say, like, just for convenience, we can take I and J, right? So say for example, we have ARR of 3, 2. That means how many rows and how many columns? In this example,
3
Three
rows,
rows,
2 columns.
2
3
columns.
rows and 2 columns. So now we know that maximum of 3 rows and 2 columns can be stored in this 2D array. So while giving the condition, we have to give I less than 3 because there are 3 rows, that is 0, 1, 2 will be the row number, less than 3, all values less than 3. Similarly, there are 2 columns. So as we see this example, there are 3 rows and 2 columns. And the column index also starts from 0. So first column will be 0, second column will be 1. So 0 and 1 both are less than 2. So that is the reason we give j less than 2. So depending on the number of rows and columns we need in our 2D array, we have to give the condition, right? So I less than 3 because we have 3 rows and j less than 2 because there are 2 columns. So we take input, this is an integer 2D array. So percentage %d will be the format specifier and a of ij. I is the index for row, j is the index for column. Now, when we generalize this, say we have m rows and n columns, how will this code change? Say we have to generalize this. This is for this particular example, only 3 rows and 2 columns. If we have to generalize it for m rows and n columns, how do we generalize this? What
I
do
is
we
equal to 0, I less than m, ma'am.
I less than m, right? And that's it.
J less than n.
J less than n, right? Good. So here this is for the example of 3 rows and 2 columns. If we have to generalize based on the number of rows and columns, so m and n can be taken as input. Say m is number of rows, n is number of columns. We can change this code like this, right? So m is the number of rows and n is the number of columns. We can take input for m and n, and we can generalize by giving I less than m. So this can be anything, 3 or 4 or whatever we want to give, and even n is number of columns. Based on the input, this will work for a generalized example, right? So next, similarly, we have to now print it, right? So display the elements of the 2D array. So like we have taken input, even for output also we need 2 for loops because we have 2 indexes in the 2D array. One for loop for row number, another for the column number. If we take the same example, ARR of 3, 2, right? So here we are printing the values. So I less than 3, j less than 2 for this example. And then we printf slash percentage %d slash t, so that we get one tab space. This j loop executes multiple times until one row is printed for I equal to 0. Then when j loop completes, one row is already printed. Next we have to give a slash n. So this is given because we need the next row in a new line. That is row number 1. That is when I becomes 1, again j starts from 0. So 1 0 will be, array of 1 0 will be 3. Then array of 1 1 will be 4. It prints the second row. Again we have a slash n, right? So that the third line can be printed in a new line. So we give a slash n. So this is basically to print in the form of a matrix. So here we have given. So similarly, like we saw for reading, we have generalized format for printing also. So we have I less than m, j less than n. So that is a condition based on the input, right? M number of rows and n number of columns. So we are printing the matrix here or the two-dimensional array. I hope this part is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let us see this problem 7 we just discussed already. This is a real-time scenario with input and output of the 2D array. I'm just revising it again. So here we have Mr. Umar is a research scholar working on images, right? And he will be storing images in the form of row and column. That is a matrix, basically a two-dimensional array. So now he knows that there are m rows and n columns. So now we have to read those values and print it. So this problem is just simple input and output of 2D array. So like for each concept we have seen. So first usually program is input and then output. So that is, if we say integer, we have taken input and of an integer, print it. Similarly, character, take input, print it. One dimensional array, take input and print. Similarly here, first one program is take input for the two-dimensional array and print it. So we have a simple program. Whatever code we saw in the previous slide, we are combining them along with input, right? So take input for m and n and then read the values and print the values. So that is the problem statement. So here, if we see the requirements, we know that first we need to declare, right? So declare the two-dimensional array, specify the maximum number of rows and columns, and then take input for the number of rows and columns. Please note, while declaring, we may give a larger number, 20 or 50. Now 50 can be avoided, 20 or 25, whatever, but it does not mean that we need to give 25 rows and 25 columns. That is the maximum amount of memory which gets reserved for this array. So while taking input, we may give 3, 4 or whatever is required for our application for number of rows and columns. Okay. So while declaring, we will give a slightly larger number, not very large. So if we declare like a of 100, 100, it will reserve 100 rows and 100 columns, a lot of memory. So we can avoid that. So depending on our application, so here we may take 20 or 25, right? So that is just for declaring the two-dimensional array. Next, we take input for m and n so that we know how many rows and how many columns are there. Next, we are going to read the pattern. That is nothing but the values of the two-dimensional array. Once we read this, we have to display that pattern. Whatever values we have read into the two-dimensional array, we will print them, right? So first thing is we are going to take input for rows and columns. So in general, m and n or any variable can be used, right? Here m and n is considered. Say we take 3 and 2, for example, right? 3 rows and 2 columns. So totally how many elements will be there in this matrix? If m is
M into N, ma'am.
m into n, that is 6 elements. We have to take input for 6 elements. Note that we need not give input in the form of matrix also. We may give input in a single line, right? So we will see that how to give, right? So this part of the code is what we just saw. Instead of ARR, we have the name of the matrix given as pattern. I and j starts from 0. So 0 less than I is equal to 0, I less than m, because number of rows is m. J also starts from 0, j less than n, number of columns is n. So in this part of the code, we are taking input for the 2D array with the name pattern. So it is always better if we give the names with related to the application. So it has to be connected. So with some meaning. Otherwise, if we simply give A or B, it does not match, right? So it is always better to give a name which is related to the application. Pattern, because we are storing some image pattern, we are giving a name pattern. We also have to declare all these elements, right? All are integers, declare them. I, j are indexes of for loops. M, n is for row and column number. It is also called order of the matrix, right? Number of rows, columns is called as order of the matrix, m cross n. Then pattern is the name of the 2D array. So we are declaring a maximum of 20 rows and 20 columns. So we have to take care while giving input, m should be less than equal to 20. Similarly, n also should be less than equal to 20. So then we have the header file main. Let us continue. So in this part, we have taken input, right? So say we give input like this, whatever we have considered, previous slide, same I have given here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have given 6 numbers. We can enter in same line also, not necessary to enter like this, right? So we can enter in a single line. Now we need to print them, right? Next part. So we are going to give just a heading, pattern read by Mr. Umar, and we have to print each pattern of IJ has to be printed. That is what we give. So this is the main part, and then we will keep on adding the logic. Please note, while writing a program, you should never try to write from stdio.h and continue till the end. Always write the first main logic. So in short, you can write down at the side. So while you're writing for your test also, note that first you have to see input, output, and then logic. And then only you can construct the rest very easily. Okay. So here we have printed. Now we know IJ starts from 0, include the for loops, right? So this will first print 0, 0, 1, the value 1. Then J has to increment to 1 to print the second element. So now J loop will increment, right? So I is still 0 only J will increment to 1. So we print the second number 2. Now J becomes 2, sorry, 2 is less than 2, condition is false, right? Because N is 2 as per the example, 2 less than 2 is false. J loop will complete. We need the next row now, next row in a new line. So we will give a printf. Note, this is how you have to construct the program step by step. Now once we give printf/n, cursor has printed 2, it comes to the next line. Now for this next line, we know the value of I has to be incremented to 1. So we need one more for loop, 1 and then 2, right? Up to M. So we give the next for loop I less than M, right? So then we print the values. So I will be 1. So we print 1, 0. Array of 1, 0 is 3. Sorry, pattern of 1, 0 is 3. Next, J becomes 1. Print pattern of 1, 1 is 4 with a tab space. We have given /t. Next, once this completes, J becomes 2, condition false, J loop will complete, there is a /n, right? So after second row, cursor will now come to third row. Now I again is getting incremented to 2. 2 less than 3. 3 is the M value. 3 rows are there. So 2 less than 3. So we will print the next value 5 and then 6. And again J will get incremented to 2. 2 less than 2 false. We will get the cursor down, but then when we increment I next time, it becomes 3. After 2, I becomes 3. 3 less than 3, condition is false. We have printed the entire matrix. I hope this is clear. Okay. So program execution, you can try this, right? So I will not execute it again here. We have executed already. So if you want, you can see that video also. In that, all executions are done. I hope this is clear. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this is again just a repetition, right? So now we have the flow chart for the same program, right? So first part is the reading input, right? Is this visible clearly? Is this visible?
Ma'am, it is visible, ma'am, but it is not so clear.
Not very clear. Okay, just a minute. This is the same file which I have shared to you all, right? So output also is here. Are you able to see the screen? Is this visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So this is the output, right? So we have just given 3, 2, and as you can see, the input can be given in a same line, and it will be printed in the form of a matrix. So 6 numbers are given in one line. So based on the input of M and N, M into N, 3 into 2, 6 numbers we can simply give, and it will print in the form of the matrix. So based on our code. Now coming to the flow chart is there next, right? Is this better or okay?
Yes.
Yeah. So here I have shared the same file in your class WhatsApp group as well as Edit. Please go through that also. Okay. So first part we have declared. There are two parts as you can see. First part is to take input. So before we take input, we have to declare, right? The same program. We know declaration symbol, right? Rectangle. So we declare all the required variables ij, mn and pattern of 2020, and then we have to give a statement, enter rows and columns of pattern, and then take input for m and n. Next we are giving a message to take input for the pattern itself, that is a 2D array, so image of the values. Then as we know, I starts from 0, for loop I is equal to 0, I less than m. Okay, once it is true, 0 less than 3, right? In as per our example, it is true, j will start from 0, j equal to 0, check 0 less than n. If it is true, read pattern of ij, and then j will increment. So this continues for each value of I, j loop will execute multiple times. And once this completes, we have read all the values of the matrix. So this part is only to read the values of the matrix. Then we have a connector A. So in case we have larger flowchart, we can always have a connector A. If this is taking one page of your book, you can write a connector and then continue the same in the next page, right? Next again, connector A will start here. That is, it is a continuation of the flowchart. So here we display a message, pattern read by Mr. Umar is, and then the for loop is again, as we know, if I equal to 0, I less than m. Note that don't give any hexagon or something which you find in internet. So here the condition and the has to be given in decision symbol itself. So use a rhombus itself for the condition. So in some cases we see some hexagon and all that, please do not use that. Okay, I equal to 0 is a process. We are initializing the value. It has to be a rectangle. I less than m is a condition. It has to be given in a decision symbol. And then I plus plus or j plus plus is again a process. It has to be given at the end. Exactly how for loop works, right? So this is how we have to represent the for loop. Do not use some hexagon or any other symbols given in internet. You may see so many symbols given, all that are not the standard symbols. Is this clear? Okay. So even in your test, you will be given a case study. It may not be the same problem. It may be somewhat similar. So you will have to write the flow chart and the problem program and expected output. So that is what you have on 13th May. I have announced that is the test 2. First 1 hour you will have MCQ test of part A, which is 10 marks, and then 30 marks will be part B, which is the next 2 hours. In those 2 hours, you will have some questions, 3 questions basically. So that is, you have to write the program, flow chart and expected output. So somewhat similar case scenarios will be given and you have to solve it. Okay. So in case, so prepare well. In case you have doubt, you can ask. Okay. So you have to be noting the time and everything, like the notification sent regularly, right? So this is to print the pattern. Okay, so this is the next part of the for loop. So we print the pattern step by step, one by one, each number gets printed, like how we have read. Similarly, for loop is given here, right? So printf slash n also is given, so that after we have a new line, I will get incremented. So once this entire for loop gets completed, you can see the representation. This is the outer loop and this is the inner loop, right? So that has to be clearly mentioned with arrows. So this is the flow chart for the program 7. I hope this is clear. Okay, so let's go back here. Now, next one is problem 8. So, what is problem 8? If you have seen that, you can tell me. Did you all watch that video? Problem 8 is basically matrix addition. How do we add two matrices? Dhiren,
Yes, ma'am.
how do we add two matrices?
A of I plus B of J.
A of I. Here we have 2D array. Only I. We need to take both I and J, right? So
Yes,
A of
ma'am.
ij plus what do we add? Yeah. If you are not able to speak, then you can send the message also.
Ma'am, once again you repeat the question, ma'am.
How do we add two matrices?
We'll add same elements, ma'am. Same like Aij in the first matrix and Aij1 in the first matrix, second matrix.
Yeah, that's right. So if we give name as A and B, for example, we will give A of ij plus B of ij, right? Correct. Yes, true. So that is what I have received here also. Yeah. Now we know how to add two matrices, right? You have done that in your maths classes. So this problem 8 is basically matrix addition. Problem 9 is matrix multiplication. Okay. So problem 8, we have a statement as a real-time scenario given. So it says that Mr. Umar, upon reading pattern, wants to add this pattern to the original image. That means he has to perform matrix addition. So pattern has to be added to original. So these are the two matrices. So here we need pattern 1 is the name given, say m rows and n columns. Here names are just given. You can take any name, right? So original is the second array, 2D array or the matrix. It has p rows and q columns. So if we represent this, it becomes pattern 1 of mn and original of pq, right? So now we first need input for m and n and p and q. So that is what we will read. Order of pattern 1 is m and n. Order of original matrix is pq. Now what is the condition necessary, prerequisite for matrix addition? Anyone? What is the prerequisite for addition of matrix? Can we simply add with any number of rows and any number of columns? No, we cannot simply add. We have to check some conditions, right? So what is that condition we will check?
It should be same, ma'am. Like that number should be same.
Yeah, which number? Correct.
That like in the same position, it should be in the two matrices, ma'am. Then only we can add it.
Yeah, number of rows should be same in both and number of columns should be same. So basically m should be equal to, correct, that is a message, right? M should be equal to p and
P.
n should be equal to
Q.
q, right? So in case m is not equal to p or n is not equal to q, we cannot add. So say we have 2 rows and in the second matrix, if we have 3 rows, we cannot add. The third row in the second matrix is left out. So that is the reason number of rows should be equal in both and number of columns should be equal. So that is the first condition we will check before we take input. So if they are not equal, no need to take inputs. We can simply give a message that we cannot add, matrix addition is not possible, and stop this. or if it is given properly, then perform addition, right? So that is what we have. Yes. So that is what we have as a next requirement. Number of rows in the pattern 1 should be equal to number of rows in original, and the columns of pattern 1 should be same as the number of columns in original. If not, addition is not possible. In case they are equal, then we can perform addition, right? So here, if we take, example, now we are taking input first so that we can check prerequisite. So here, M and N, say we give 3, 3, anything can be given, right? 3, 2, 3, 4, whatever. Now the same values has to be given here. In case M, N, we give 3, 4. Here also we have to give 3, 4. Okay. So we take input for M, N, P, Q. Now we need to first check, is M equal to P and N equal to Q. In case one of them is not equal, also we cannot perform addition, right? If M is not equal to P or N is not equal to Q, then we cannot add. That is basically what we give next. If M is not equal to P or N is not equal to Q, we say that matrix addition is not possible. Else, that means M is equal to Q, P and N is equal to Q, we can add. So then control will come to else part. We also declare the required variables. Ij for the loop, Mn for order of pattern 1, Pq for order of original pattern, original result, all with maximum 20 rows, 20 columns, right? So else part means we will perform the addition. So for adding two matrices, what do we need? We have taken input for rows and columns. What is the next input?
Input for the matrices, ma'am.
Input for the matrix. So the values of the matrix. So we are taking input like we have seen this code, right? So here we are taking input for the pattern. Yeah. So input for pattern 1, and next we will take input for original. Yes. So here we are taking input for pattern 1 first, like we saw in the previous program. Say we give some example with 3 rows and 3 columns, because M is 3 and N is 3. Next, take input for original, right? So here note the condition. Here M and N is order for pattern 1. So condition should be I less than M, J less than N. Whereas second matrix is original, its order is, what is order?
P and
Q.
P.
Yeah. So the condition should be
I less than P and J less than Q, ma'am.
Yes, very good. So condition should be I less than P and J less than Q. So just some random numbers we give, say 3 rows and 3 columns, right? So then we are going to add each value of pattern 1 with each value of original and store it to a third matrix like result. So this is what we do. I and J start from 0. So pattern 1 of 0, 0 should be added with original of 0, 0, and it has to be stored into result of 0, 0. Pattern 1 of 0, 0 is 1. Original of 0, 0 is
1.
1. 1 plus 1, 2. 2 has to be stored in
Result 0, 0, ma'am.
result of 0, 0. Now that is with I and J as 0. Next only J has to increment every time for the first row elements to get added correspondingly. And next I has to get incremented so that second row gets added, right? So we have the for loops. Now here condition we may give I less than P or I less than M. Similarly J less than Q or J less than N, because anyway number of rows are equal and number of columns are equal. So once we add, we get this corresponding elements are added. 1 plus 1, 2, 1 plus 2, 3, 1 plus 3, 4, and so on. We add all the 9 elements with their corresponding elements in the second matrix and store it to result. Is this clear? Did you understand this part?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Now we have calculated the resultant matrix. We have to display it, right? So just display the resultant matrix, right? Result of Ij. Ij starts from 0. So it will print the first row, first element, and then J will get incremented. So first row, all elements are printed. Next, I has to be incremented, okay, after /n. So I will be incremented with the for loop. Then we print the next set of rows, right? So this is for the printing resultant matrix. Now please note, while execution also, number of brackets are very important. Usually after finishing this code, we will close one bracket for main. So that is the main thing observed. So here we have one more bracket required for else, right? So else is where it started. So there is a bracket for else, open bracket, which has to be closed. So this else bracket has to be closed first, and then we will close the bracket for main. So these can be the places where you may get error. It will simply say that some bracket error. So that is where you can check. Yes, you can add column wise also, not a problem. Okay, so this is one of the implementation. Addition of matrix can be done column wise also. I hope your doubt is clear. Okay, yeah. So this is about matrix addition. We have the same program in the form of the flow chart. Okay, execution, you can see I have shared that. You also execute and check. So first part, we are taking input for m, n, p, q, declare all the required variables. Okay, then check for condition. If m is not equal to q or n is not m is not equal to p or n is not equal to q, then we cannot add. So print addition is not possible. Else we can add. So here we have a connector B. So there is a different parts of the flow chart. Okay. So this part next we are going to take. I have explained this in detail. I expect you all please watch that video. Okay. So this part we are taking input for pattern matrix. Okay. And then we have a connector C. Next connector C continues. We are taking input for original matrix. Note the conditions given. M and N is order of pattern 1 matrix. P and Q is order of original matrix. So this is to take input for original matrix. Then we have a connector D which continues in the next part where we are adding them. Now again, condition may be I less than P, or here we may give I less than M also. J less than Q can be changed to J less than N also. Here we are adding them, right? So this part of the code is to add pattern 1 values with original corresponding values and store to result ij. Next step, we are printing the resultant matrix. So E connector continues here. We are printing resultant matrix. One more thing to notice, there is one connector hanging there, right? After printing matrix, not addition not possible, we have one connector A, which means that we cannot add matrix and we will stop the program. So this connector A has to be connected to stop. Okay, so that is what we have here. So once we finish adding, we will stop, or if the required condition do not match also, we will stop the program, right? So this is addition. Then we have matrix multiplication. Now, if we say this, we are having the condition, say matrix pattern multiply with original. So here matrix multiplication needs to be done. What is the prerequisite? What is the condition required to multiply two matrices? Anyone?
Number of rows should be equal to number of columns.
Which row and which column? Which matrix? That is to be specified.
Column of first matrix should be equal to row of second matrix.
Exactly. So columns, number of columns of first matrix should be equal to number of rows of second matrix, right? If we take Mn and then PQ, the condition should be N
N is
equal
equal
to
to P.
P. Yes, exactly. Right. N should be equal to P. So that is what we have to check first before taking input. So here we need to multiply two matrices. So number of columns of first matrix should be same as number of rows of second matrix. If we take M and N for first matrix, P and Q for second matrix order, then N should be equal to P. If N is not equal to P, we cannot multiply. So we have to display matrix multiplication is not possible, right? So for example, we take A and B, then if we check N is equal to P, right? If N is not equal to P, matrix multiplication is not possible. So otherwise we can multiply them. Now if we multiply we have M and N, and matrix B is P and Q. What is the order of the resultant matrix?
M into Q, man.
M into
Q.
Q. Yes. So the resultant matrix will have M rows and Q columns, right? So M cross Q will be the resultant matrix order. So this is the basic fundamental about matrix multiplication. So if we multiply a matrix of order Mn into a matrix of order PQ, the resultant matrix will have an order of MQ, that is M cross Q, right? So this is the basic multiplication. Each first row of first matrix will be multiplied to first column of the second matrix. So first we will take input, say M and N is 2 and 3. Now PQ will be second input, 3 and 4. Now for this input, can we perform multiplication?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Why?
Yes, ma'am.
Because the number of columns
Columns.
in pattern 1 is equal to number of rows in
Yes, because N is 3 and P is 3. So 3 equal to 3, we have condition is true. So if N is not equal to P, then we cannot multiply, right? Since here N is also 3, P is also 3. So 3 and 3 match together. So we can multiply them. So in case the condition will be if N, we declare N is not equal to P, then matrix multiplication is not possible. Else we can multiply. So declare all the variables. Note that there are 3 indexes here, right? If you have seen, there are 3 for loops which we will be using. So 3 indexes I, J, K. M and N will be for pattern 1. PQ is order of original. Declare all the 3 matrices, pattern, original, result, with maximum of 20 rows and 20 columns, right? So here we will continue the first part. So now we can multiply. What is the next step? We see that
Take
N
input value
take input for
M and N for pattern 1.
pattern and then
Original.
original. We have to take input for these 2 matrices, right? So the matrix which we want to multiply, first matrix with 2 rows and 3 columns, okay, M rows and N columns in general. Whatever input we give, it will take, right? So now first thing is to take input for pattern 1. So we have given 2, 3, that means 2 rows and 3 columns. As you can see, one example here, 2 rows and 3 columns. Next we have given 3, 4. That means original 3 rows and 4 columns, P and Q. Now when we have to multiply, right, so the basic condition, how do we get the first element of the resultant matrix?
Multiply first row and first column.
First row has to be multiplied with first column, right? How will we get this value? Please use the same example and tell me.
4 into 4 into 2 into 2 plus 4 into 4 plus 1 into 1.
Yes. So here we get 2 into 2 plus 4 into 4 plus 1 into 1. So first element here 2 into 2 plus 4 into 4 plus 1 into 1. Similarly, how will we get the second element?
2 into 5 plus 4 into 1 plus 1 into 2.
Exactly. So 2 into 5 plus 4 into 1 plus 1 into 2. For the second element, we have to multiply first row with second column. Similarly, first row with third column, then first row with fourth column. This will give 4 values in the first row. Second row, next we have to multiply with first column. That will give second row first element. Similarly, second row, second column. So this continues till the end. We will get 4 values in the second row, right? So that is how we are going to perform matrix multiplication. So first element is this one. So 2 into 2 plus 4 into 4 plus 1 into 1, which gives 21. Second element, 2 into 5 plus 4 into 1 plus 1 into 2, it gives us 16. Now we have seen that. So here basic is addition. So we have to initialize with 0. Because 0 is called as, what is it?
Additive identity.
Additive identity. So we are taking result as 0. Now we are having here, if you observe, I, J, K are all zeros. So once we multiply the first set, next we have to multiply 0, 1. This is 4 with 1, 0. So in between values are same. So for that reason we take K here. Pattern of IK into KJ. That is the reason we take a third element. So in between the index are similar. We are multiplying row with column values. So that is the reason we are taking a third variable K, which is a third for loop. So this will be for multiplying each row with each column. Okay. That is why take care while writing the indexes. Result of IJ, we are adding each element. Okay. With the result first. So 0 into 2, 0 plus 2 into 2. We will get 2. Now K only will increment. So it becomes 0, 1, pattern of 0, 1 into original of 1, 0. So 4 into 4. That is the next element. Then only K will get incremented to 2. So pattern of 0, 2, which is 1, will be multiplied with original of 2, 0, which is 1. So we get the third element. We will add that to result. So at the end of this, we have got 21. Okay, now we need to multiply with this row with the next column. So that is the reason we will increment J also. Next for I also will increment for, so that first matrix second row is considered. Okay, so this is the basic code for matrix multiplication. Note that you have to initialize to 0, and every time we are going to multiply this two pattern of IK into original of KJ, add it to result. So that is step by step. We are performing product first and then we are adding them. So this is for sum of products. Basic operation is sum here. So we take 0. Only the terms are found by product. Okay. So result will be 0 first, and then we are adding each element. 2 into 2 plus 4 into 4 plus 1 into 1. We will get the first number 21. Similarly, when K increments, we will get these values. I and J also increment step by step. So with the required values. So note that we have M and Q is the order of this resultant matrix while giving the condition. So I less than M. Number of rows in the resultant matrix is M. Number of columns is Q. So J less than Q. This is for the columns in this first matrix. So K less than N. Okay. So these conditions depend on the number of rows and columns we have. I hope this is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So matrix multiplication. Once we find the result, we will print them. Okay. So printing exactly like we did for the previous one. So you can calculate and see. So verify this also, right? So take one example and trace step by step. So this will be the resultant matrix. Okay. So one closing bracket for else, another for main. Yeah. So here we have flow chart. Until I tell you about the flow chart, you can enter your name and roll number, right? Yeah. So we have the flow chart next. So this part, declaration, enter your name and roll numbers, everyone. So we have the number of rows, number of columns taken as input. The condition we have checked, that is n less not equal to p. If it is true, we cannot multiply. So print matrix multiplication not possible, and then a connector A. Later this A will connect to stop. Okay. Otherwise, if n is equal to p, condition is false, we can multiply, right? So we will multiply by taking input first. So next part of the flow chart will be for taking input for pattern matrix. First matrix we take input. So connect with B up to then connector C is there. So this is exactly same like we saw in previous example. Next C will connect to next part. This part is to take input for original matrix, right? So now here we have the code for the matrix multiplication. Note that there are 3 nested for loops. Outer loop for I, and representation also you have to take care. Inner loop, inner loop is for J, and innermost will be for, I'm sorry for this. Yeah, we will get the flow chart now. So we have the first three parts, take input for pattern and original. Next, we have the loop here. So outermost loop is for I, then inner loop for J, innermost loop for K, within which we have written result of Ij equal to result of Ij plus pattern of Ik into original of Kj. So note the representation of the three for loops. We have for loops which are nested. Previous examples, we had only two for loops. In this, we have three nested for loop. Like that, we can have n number of for loops depending on the application. So here we have three nested for loop. One for I, another for loop is for J, another for loop is for K, which is the innermost where we are calculating the matrix multiplication part. So once this completes, we will have resultant matrix in result, okay, of Ij. We have a connector E, so which will connect to the next part where we are printing the resultant matrix. So printing is again same. So we have the condition check M cross Q is the order. So condition should be properly given, I less than M, J less than Q, and print it. And then we have A, which was the connector in the previous step, connected to stop. So I hope this is clear. Did you all understand this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, please go through this and take some examples and solve. Okay, so once you trace just matrix multiplication, you will be knowing, but with I and J value, okay, with the indexes, when you trace, you can still understand it better. The more examples you trace, the better you can understand the problem. Okay, execute these problems. Okay, and then in Monday's class, we will start with strings, right? Okay, I hope all of you have entered your name and roll number. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Go through all these, execute all the programs. Okay. Thank you.